education is a key to transformation, in addition to the spiritual support that we can give. Drive is to bring in the resources that are transformative, that are going directly to the people that are in need of that and change their mindset, their lives altogether. God's grace, seeing what we're impacting to the nation.
Located in the southeast of Africa, Malawi is home to the 8th largest lake in the world and shares a border with Zambia to the west, Tanzania to the north, and Mozambique to the east. And approximately 1,600 miles to the south, Malawi shares a strong bond with its neighbor, South Africa. Malawi is a stunningly beautiful country that has withstood a very colorful history, enduring cycles of harsh weather, crippling economic conditions, and a challenging political atmosphere. Despite these ongoing hardships, the country is known as the warm heart of Africa, for its generosity, hospitality, and kindness. And through these trying times, the people of Malawi have continually persevered with their strong work ethic, sense of community, and love for others. Malawi is indeed a nation of strength and resilience. The two primary centers of commerce are located in the capital of Lilongwe and Blantyre. The city of Blantyre was named after the Scottish town of the same name by renowned missionary explorer Dr. David Livingstone. During this time, the British colonized the land in 1891 as British Central Africa and later took on the name Nyasaland. Imported tea seeds from Scotland flourished in the new environment and helped establish the region as the tea capital of Africa. In 1964, the country achieved full independence from foreign lands and adopted the name Malawi. It was ruled as a one-party state under Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda until 1994. As the country's self-declared life president, Banda transformed Malawi into a repressive dictatorship. After Banda's reign, devaluation of currency began and massive corruption filled the void. As a result, Malawi is one of the world's least developed countries. Pastor Mark Zambiri was born in Malawi in the rural town of Magoe. He and ministry partner Richard Maluzi have made it their mission to help the people of their community and beyond. Facing major health issues, devastating weather, and crushing poverty, they know they have a huge challenge. In a country of 16 million people, 50% of the population is under the age of 18. Forced child marriages, early pregnancies, drug and alcohol abuse, human trafficking, and prostitution are the unfortunate realities for Malawi's young people. Lifelong resident and retired government employee Francis is hopeful, but shares a reserved view about the future.
Life here is sometimes tough, sometimes good, but most of the times the life in Malawi is tough. Like here in where we are, there are experiences of floods, experiences of hunger, experiences of hot spells like this year. Everything in the fields has gone out because of the heat that we have experienced in the month of February. So because of those things, it makes tough for the people in this village and most of the villages in Malawi to stay a comfortable life. go and share the love of Christ with them. The thing is that when we were reaching out to such communities with the gospel, we had also discovered that the people that we are reaching with the gospel has also many physical challenges in terms of health, economical hardships, such that it is difficult for them to believe that there is God, there is Jesus caring for them. So we had taken a very good example from what our Lord Jesus Christ was doing. Remember in the Bible, he fed the hungry. About over 5,000 people were fed by him. And also at one point he provided at the marriage at Cana when the wedding ran out of wine. So we said, okay, right, well, let's reach these people both with the gospel and also meet some physical needs that they have. So when we started thinking in that angle, God gave us an idea of starting an organization which will work under the church, but it will be responsible solely for the physical needs of human beings.
After meeting each other in the early 2000s, Pastor Mark and Richard felt led by God to work together to find solutions for the beloved people of their homeland by investing in their education, by developing vocational skills training, offering better health care, and through sound biblical teaching.
As you may be aware, in our community, we have got so many issues to do with HIV/AIDS.
Yeah.
That has led to the loss of so many women.
Yeah.
Not only women, but general family life. That has put our young people in distressed situations, leaving a lot of children parentless. And we have so many orphans and vulnerable children that are suffering so far. How can we best serve them is the question that is now emerging. And if we can connect those youths to the youth training center,
Yes, yeah.
they can at least obtain some vocation training that will help them to be self-reliant so that they can grow up as dependable citizens who can change themselves, their environment, and the general community.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go back.
If you remember that early marriages
Yes.
has also impacted on our young girls,
Yes.
Dropping out of school at a young age, getting married,
Yes.
also into issue of human trafficking,
Yes.
sex trafficking,
Yes.
which is connected now to having training them in vocational skills.
That's right.
Training so that we can impart them. We should cut that circle that it should go back again to the problems that they were facing. It was very important looking at the district. Palombe
Yes.
has been hit now in a space of 4 years. We had Cyclone Anna, we had Cyclone Gombe, and the devastating one, the Cyclone Fred.
Don't forget about the cyclone Idai.
It died.
Yes,
It's almost 4. It's almost 4.
Yes.
Palombe has been hit. We have faced that. And on top of that, this year, this now dry spell.
Don't forget even also the cholera outbreak, the diarrhea outbreak. I was trying to look for ministries or churches that have got the same vision that I have of reaching the most underprivileged people, the voiceless. So I was searching on the internet, and by the grace of God, I may say so, I came across Pastor Jack Esson's contact details. So the CAPS Mission website had listed most of what is happening in Dominican Republic. The Spirit of God had motivated me to write him, to invite him to come over to Africa. Remember when Apostle Paul was in another location, he had the feeling of the Holy Spirit telling him to go to another area. So I said, would you come over to Africa and help us do what you are doing in Dominican Republic? He rejected.
So most of us have probably gotten an email from Africa before. I remember when this email popped up from Pastor Mark Zimbiri and he started talking about Africa. I wanted to keep reading in there, thinking that somewhere in there was going to be the promise that, I had a long lost relative and $12 million was waiting on me in some account. So honestly, I didn't really think the email was legit, even though it sounded legit. And I remember sharing that with my wife, Lynette, saying, hey, I got this email, and she goes, well, do you think it's real, or you think it's, what do you think? And I said, well, I really don't know. And I kind of, actually I think I'd gotten a couple of emails, and so I kind of blew him off, and she's like, you actually need to probably investigate if it's maybe somebody who really needs some help.
He said, I don't know you, and I don't know how you have come to know me. And also we do not have enough resources to expand our work over to Africa. As such, I decline your invitation. I responded back to him saying, thank you so much, but we are praying that at a certain stage, maybe God would speak to your heart to reconsider our invitation. In response to this now email, he said, I'm thinking we can come in March 2016. And of course, 2 months' time, Jack, with a team of 4, they were here in Africa.
When I saw the vision Pastor Mark had to reach his community, of course, starting with the medical clinic, my heart was drawn to help him, but I thought immediately of what we were already doing in the Dominican Republic and the limited resources that we had to actually start, another project in another country. Really just struggle with thinking through that. How do we do that? What's the first step? What would we do? What would we fund? Where would the money come from to do what God's called us to do? All those questions that come through. But the one thing that I knew was if it was something God was calling us to do, as He was calling Pastor Mark to do, He would provide a way for us to help.
CAP's mission since 2016, there are quite a lot that I cannot list down. I mean, of what has happened since our relationship in 2016. We feel that was God's divine connection, because we have seen many people who had no access to primary health care being assisted, being supported, being helped. And we have seen so many youths in our communities. Right now, they have become employers. They're employing their fellow youths in welding and fabrication, tailoring, and others have gone even, have crossed the borders. They are in other countries doing electrical work, using the skills they got at the Vacation Training Center. All of this is because of the support that CAP's mission provide yearly, monthly to us here in Malawi in particular.
Before we boarded the plane to take off and head home, that team of 4 on that very first trip, we gathered together around the table at the lodge that we were staying at that last night. And all of our team, obviously the emotion of what we had seen and the passion that Pastor Mark had for this mission God had called him to. We had no idea how we were going to fund it. We had no idea what the partnership was going to look like. But myself and the 3 other guys that I was with, as we were talking that day, we said we need to have at least something even scribbled down on a piece of paper that we can let them know, hey, we love them, we're convinced God's at work here in this partnership. And I remember we scribbled out just a couple of sentences on a piece of notebook paper that we found ripped out of this notebook, and wrote down, hey, we're committing to partner together as God opens the doors for the future. I remember when Will began to pass that around the table and show Pastor Mark, the emotion of that moment for them realizing, hey, these guys believe in what we're doing, we're going to do this together. It's a pretty powerful moment.
Pastor Jack, over the years, has become more like a brother. We talk through issues as brothers. You can't walk together unless there is an agreement. And there has been a mutual friendship, relationship. We understand each other. He has taught me a lot, even in making decision-making processes. He has led me to sound decision-making processes. That is why we are able to use the little money but achieve greater things, because he has provided us with the skills, high profile leadership skills, that has helped me to be where I am to date. Both me and my family, we do really appreciate Pastor Jack. Both me and the ministry, we appreciate Pastor Jack for his powerful and sound leadership.
To go
kuti apite
into all the world,
ku dziko lonse
preaching
kulalikira
to all creatures.
I was born from a very, very poor family, and being the third, the most rejected son or child in the family and even the community, because people thought I'm just a useless person. I don't know how it happened, but that's the way how people perceived about me. When they see me, everybody hated me. In 1989, at school, we had a preacher who came to preach about Nicodemus, how he became a born again. And out of all the hundreds of children who were at school, I was the only child who raised up his hand to say, I want to receive Jesus to be the Lord and the King of my life, out of maybe 500 to 1,000 children. And the preacher prayed for me, led me a prayer, and then that decision was just made as a child, but I didn't know that it will be something else by today. In 1993, I had my younger brother, Peter, who died 2 years ago. So we were asking each other, who will you want to be or to become when you grow up or when you finish your education? So I said I would like to become a pastor. So I started preaching in my community, door to door, market to market, person to person. That led so many people to come to Christ. And people were asking me, we want a church that can preach what you are telling us. So that also had started developing something in my spirit. I was preaching the true gospel. I was going to the wrong church. So I made up a decision to say, God, I want to start a church in this village. So I started the Good News Outreach Church and Ministries. That was now in 1997 on 9th November. When God touched me, I started even praying for my community, praying for everyone, loving everyone, forgiving everyone in the community. And even my parents, I forgave them because of their rejection that they were having on me. And through me, by God's grace, the community has been transformed over years because I have preached the love and the grace of God in the village. I have ministered to several families through Mercy Work, Mercy Ministries. We have provided clothes to the poor, to the orphans, to the widows, the most vulnerable children in the community. We have reached out to them through bursaries, paying for their school fees, feeding them at times, and also at times we have been reaching out to as far as even sending them to tertiary education. Because of that, now people started accepting me in the community as somebody who is bringing hope in their lives. I met Jean, that was 1997 in October, and then I started the church in November. When we met, of course, she didn't want to be married by me because, as I have already said, I was coming from a very poor family. And most of the girls in our country would want to be married by someone who is coming from a well-to-do family. So she had so many friends, including one teacher who was her teacher at primary school. She advised her not to be married by me when she heard about my proposal. But she insisted because Jeannie wanted a man who would love her, who would care for her, even despite money issues. She had no any thought of being married by a rich man. So when I sent my proposal through her friend, there was no any response. But she invited me to her home. So there she bought me soap and gave me groundnuts. Then she visited me at school That's how it began. Up until today, Jean hasn't responded to my letter because it was a 6-page letter. I'm still looking for the response.
With their son Mark Jr. translating, Miss Jean, as she is affectionately called, shares her side of the story.
Since then, when I was 13, I started going that ministry till I was 19. And when I was 19, that's when I met Mark at the same ministry. And we are both there just like attendants.
Komano nthawi imene Maki imene atandiona Maki chifukwa ndimakonda kuimba kwaya.
I was in a choir at that ministry. That's when Mark noticed me.
Komano sana ndiuze nthawi imeneyo kuti akundifuna.
But Mark didn't tell me that he was interested in me at that time.
Patatenga nthawi ndi pamene ndinali ndi mzanga wina amene ndimatumikira nawo ministry imodzi.
And it takes some time, but I had a friend who was in ministry with me the same moment, yeah.
Ndi anampasira kalata chachikulu seri to seri.
And then Mark wrote a letter and gave it to my friend who was in ministry, same with me, and that friend gave it to me.
Koma kuchokera pamene popo sinayankhe kalata imene mpaka napano, mpaka natalowa banja 1999 mpaka napano.
But unfortunately, I didn't reply to that letter till now. Although we are married, but I didn't answer that letter.
Ndimankonda kwambiri Maki ndi wachikondi.
I love him very much.
Pa Mulungu.
He's good loving.
Ndi ana atatu.
We have 3 children.
Hannah,
Mark,
and Kumbu.
She's a supportive woman, loving, caring, and she's a good mother to my children, my 3 children. She cares for me, she cares for the children, and she cares for more people in the church, and even here in Malawi, in our community, and even those friends that we are connected with in Mozambique. Yes, she's a mother for many. God gave us an idea of starting an organization, and our main agendas was to reach humankind with physical needs such as health and also education.
I would like to thank you, all partners, for this clinic. Indeed, it's very helpful. We have seen that most of the people from this area, they are coming to the clinic. There are a lot of people having so many problems, illnesses, whereby when they go to the district hospital, they don't find essential drugs. But here, we have essential drugs. So I'd like to thank you partners who are helping us, providing medication and other support to the clinic. And may God bless you.
Currently, we are providing vacation training to the youth. That is under what we call youth empowerment.
The first vision that caught my eye was the empowering of vulnerable children in education, because it aligned with my personal growth. Education is the one that we can give you. It is that education that will make you to think better and focus and do something that can help you and your family. So when I looked at Pastor Mark's visions, objectives, the key point was education. Paying school fees for the vulnerable children. That caught me. Apart from anything else, but that one. I said, no, that's the beginning of transformation of a vulnerable child. In addition to the spiritual support that we can give. Education is a key to transformation.
So we are empowering the communities through our vacation training center in Migowi, Palombe district. Currently, we have graduated so many cohorts since 2017, and this year is another thing, because we have right now 180 youths being trained at one go from January to June. That is to help humankind to realize or to reach their potential in life.
Carol was married at the age of 18 when she had her child, but now finds herself looking for a way to provide for herself and her baby.
Caroline is explaining that after graduating, it will be very good. She gets support of getting equipment. For example, a tailoring machine. This, it will enable her to start her business without much problem. In 2016, I started coming across the victims of trafficking. From the Malawi Police Service, interacting with the police, that was now the beginning of having much interest on the issues of human trafficking. And then that's when we could sit down with Pastor Mark. We said, no, we need to do something of this. Despite that we doesn't have resources for this, but we have to do it. We have to do it. And that's when we started doing it even if it had no resources. We said, no, we are going to volunteer. The mega resources that we can get, we are going to support the victims. We are going to enroll them to the vocational skills for young girls that wants to get skilled. So for those that are within Palombe, they're the ones that we started now enrolling at Vocational Skills Center. For those that were coming from longer distances, we could support them integrate with their families after being rescued. The communities that we're working with one day shall have self-reliant community in all development aspects. That's what we're looking and dreaming of that. That's what we believe on, is to bring it transformative change, transformative activities that will impact for these people's lives for a longer time. And this is our belief, that the drive that we want to do is to bring in the resources that are transformative, that are going directly to the people that are in need of that and change their mindset, their lives altogether. We have made strides that now government even listens to faith-based organizations, churches, and which was not like that before. We have seen a bigger change. We want this dream to get fully fulfilled, that any policies, any direction that government wants to take should involve organizations, should continue involving churches, religious groups, traditional leaders, because if the decision is made by a bigger group, it has got a bigger impact to the community that we are reaching out. River of Life was appointed as a member of different government technical committees at a local council in Palombe. So there are several government technical committees. We have got the Disaster and Preparedness Technical Committee. We have got what we call Youth and Vocational Training Technical Committee. We have got the Gender-Based Violence Technical Committee, and we have got the Human Trafficking Coordinating Committee. I would like to thank CAPS Missions because of the support that we started receiving to build the capacity of the youth in vocational skills. That's when we discovered that some of them that have been victims of trafficking, victims of sex trafficking, and victims of early marriages. So in 2022, the Malawi Police Service and Malawi government made a recognition to the work that we have been contributing to the government efforts in protecting vulnerable groups. So we were the only non-governmental organization which was provided with this recognition. The rest were companies. To us, it was very awesome. We were very happy. But this impact or this recognition is not only for River of Life. We knew that behind CAP's mission was there. So we have got a say in one of the work that government is doing at a local council. And this has believed us, even if they've got national meetings at Capitol Hill, I represent in those seats at national level, being invited by Malawi government. To us, we don't take that for granted. And believing in a small local organization, it's not very easy. But it's a God's grace. I will put it again. It's a God's grace, seeing what we're impacting to the nation.
Yaifupi koma yetu. Amen. Amen. Nde tingovina pang'ono kena ko program atu yambike yama phunziro athu. Amen. Amen.
As things continue to grow, obviously we started with the medical clinic. That was growing and going well. Pastor Mark, on that first trip with me, walked across a plot of land and said, one day there'll be a vocational training school here. That started to grow like crazy. Hundreds of young people from 16, 17 up to 18, 20 years old going through that vocational school, learning a life skill, whether it's welding or bricklaying or carpentry, something that they can do to sustain their families, along with the gospel, of course, and discipleship. One of the great things also that happened was the launch of the Global Harvest School of Missions, which was the pastor's school. And in every one of these ministries and all throughout the country, one of the things that we saw over and over again was people's deep sense of relying on God. You know, one of the lessons personally I could take away is here in America, we can say we're dependent upon God, but we have all these safety nets that we really can depend on sometimes. But ultimately, the people there are solely dependent upon God, and they know it. I remember at the Global Harvest School of Missions, some of the pastors there don't even have a Bible, but I remember one pastor there that did have a Bible walking up to me, and it looked like his Bible had been taken over by a weed eater or a weed whacker. I mean, the thing's in shambles, in pieces, falling apart. And I remember him just clutching that and just telling me in his broken English how dependent not only he was, but the people of that community on God coming through for them. And that is the heart, the warm heart of Africa, the warm heart of Malawi that we're talking about supporting today.
I'm one of the students here. So since I come here, when I started learning, I go out. And when I go out, I started witnessing to the people. People become saved, and the more people are coming to Christ. I managed to tell others, so they also will to come and start learning to this school.
We are speaking from the Global Harvest School of Missions, and we have just finished our missions conference, and the American team joined the conference today. We thank God because the team has done a commendable job speaking from the morning hours till now. And recently we were with some missionaries who are planting churches, reaching out to communities in Malawi. Others are working in two different areas where Muslim or Islam has got so many influence. And others, they have told us great testimonies about what God is doing through their ministries as a result of coming to this school. We thank you, our partners, ministries, families, individuals who have taken part to support our projects here at the Global Harvest School of Missions. God bless you. God bless you.
His love toward us, in that while we were still sinners, saying a single prayer tells God that you rely on Jesus for your salvation, for your forgiveness.
Partners, you have to understand that the hunger for God in Africa is so huge, maybe than it is in the West. The people in Africa, the only joy they get is only when they read or hear somebody preaching the word of God. But the opportunity to have a Bible is denied for them because the Bible is very expensive. The Bible is going at $12. But for a Malawian from a rural setup to get that money is hard work. We are talking of a family which is having 5, 6, 7 children. There is drought, they haven't harvested. They're struggling to meet their ends meet. Even to get a kilogram of flour, of maize, corn, flour, is hardship. Now, when they get $10, $12, the first thing is food. Not that they don't want to read the word of God, but no access. Therefore, it's my prayer, God being the only hope for us, we should make sure to our level based, we cannot buy Bibles for everyone. But in a church of 50 people, if we can have at least 10 Bibles, they can make Bible clubs where 10 people they meet together doing Bible study using one Bible. God said, go. I'll give you what to speak. I'll tell you where to go, to which tribe. When God is sending you out to the people, He knows what you need. You find that many pastors, they don't have Bibles, but they are pastors. You may laugh and say, how can you preach without having a Bible? Where can you take the messages from? Thinking that maybe it's deliberate. It's not deliberate. These people are a poor people. Literally people who have nothing. Having a Bible to them will mean a lot. Will really mean a lot. If they have committed their lives to serve God when they are poor, what will happen if they have got access to Bible? How many people can hear the gospel? If they are able to witness without a Bible in their hands, what will happen if they have got access to a Bible? That's our prayer. It's my heart. That Bible need should be placed on the list of priorities.
Pastor Sims attended the Global Harvest School of Missions for Pastors and now leads a growing community. He has a true heart for expanding the kingdom of Christ.
Pray for me so that I should also share my testimony to others who doesn't know Christ, so that I should also evangelize, and that Lord should anoint me with miracles so that other people also should receive Christ.
He has chosen you
to
be His vessel
kuti mukhale onyamula uthenga wake
here in Malawi.
Malawi kuno.
Before you were a pastor, you were a child of God. Before you were a father or a mother, you are a child of God. Your identity has to be as a child of God. If you know Him and you have a relationship with God through Jesus, then He is pleased with you.
So I just want to encourage people, if you're looking for an opportunity to make an investment where God is working, no doubt is He working in Malawi. The people are open to the gospel, and strategically it's a country that really needs the investment of people to make sure the gospel happens. The fastest growing religion there is Islam. What's interesting too about it is the nations of the Middle East are pouring in billions, that's a B, billions of dollars into the country of Malawi. And they're putting wells at every mosque, every couple miles down the road, and encouraging people in those villages who are hungry, who are thirsty, who need medical care. Hey, just come to the mosque. We'll take care of you. We'll give you free water. Amazing. As much as I want to complain about it, it's pretty strategic. And yet we as believers have the true gospel, as Pastor Mark says, the real gospel of Jesus Christ. So I want to encourage you, you could help financially. You could come on a trip, make an investment of your time. The medical clinic needs doctors, nurses to come. The vocational school needs people who are gifted in trades, whether it's carpentry or welding, that you could come help along with the teachers and instructors. The Global Harvest School of Mission needs pastors and leaders that can come actually help these pastors be theologically correct in their training. So there's a need for almost everyone to get involved financially, prayerfully, and you could be a part of helping Malawi become a Christian country who is pursuing Jesus with all their heart.
Thank you.